Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back on this beautiful Friday morning. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live like we do each and every AM, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio, replay at 11. We're on the Barn Burner Network. We're on podcasts. We are everywhere. And I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And all of that is true. And the man on the other microphone, he is more patriotic than the big game / the Super Cereal Bowl. And we know him as...
Yeah, it's your boy coming to you live. This is your boy Chris America coming to you live.
Wait,
this
is it live,
February?
though?
It is
Chris
live.
America?
Well,
is it
it
February?
is Chris America. It is live
Okay. Just
unless
making sure.
unless it's after 7 a.m. If it's after 7 a.m., then it is not live, and this is Chris Canada coming to you about the world, trying to give you all the sports needs you have. That was probably one of the worst Canadian accents I could come up with, Ladbert, but I'm working on it, okay?
Yeah, I'd agree with the part that it was the worst Canadian accent, but you're trying. I'll give you an A
trying.
for effort. Then that's
And
all we need on that.
Loudbeard, I'm pumped up this morning. You want to know why?
Why are you pumped up?
We've been talking about this AD trade since, Monday morning, right?
Yes.
And a trade finally happened. AD finally got traded. They talked about it all week long. The GM was ignoring calls, and it was the Pelicans and the Lakers. We knew it was going to happen. They made the trade last night. Is that the trade that I saw come across the wire yesterday, Loudbeard?
No, there was a Woj bomb, but that was not the Woj
that was
bomb
not it?
that you're thinking of.
So Anthony Davis is still a New Orleans Pelican.
He is still a Pelican.
Boy, I tell you, man, New Orleans fans, they've had quite the 2 weeks. They've had the first week of just stressing out about that no call, and now they've had a whole nother week of stressing out about their superstar Anthony Davis. Loudbeard, that saga is not complete yet, so whose saga is complete in their city?
Well, the saga of the New York Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks, it came to a heightened moment yesterday when a huge Woj bomb was dropped, and the nation was not expecting this. But Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, is going to be a Dallas Maverick. That was the big name in this trade, but this was a blockbuster trade that included tons of names. Basically they're switching complete lineups. Knicks are getting Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews. Mavs are getting the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. They're getting Tim Hardaway, Courtney Lee, 2 first-round picks, 1 unprotected, and Trey Burke. I mean, basically just roster swapping right now.
Yeah, 2 teams competing for lottery draft picks, swapping their rosters. Now, in the Mavs' defense, the guy they got from the New York Knicks has not been playing, so we don't know what kind of effect, though. It probably wouldn't have been much because that's how bad the Knicks are. It wouldn't have been that much of an effect on that roster. And we had mentioned how DSJ was probably going to be shipped out soon because they have their new guy, right?
Yep, we got Luka Doncic who handles the ball, and Dennis Smith Jr. is a ball handler. So when your up-and-coming superstar is taking over, you have another guy that's good. You're like, okay, I can get some value for him. Let's see what I can swap him for.
Yeah, this is like the old Nick Foles, Carson Wentz dilemma, right?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good comparison. That's a very super comparison, if you will, on this Super Friday as we're getting ready for that
put that in a bowl
Sunday.
and smoke it.
Ooh, wow, I like your innuendos. So, I just want to say with this Chris America, I looked at this trade, and a lot of people are saying that both sides win in this deal. But my take on this is the Mavs hands down win this trade. I think getting a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, though he's injured right now, but if he comes back next year, and when he comes back next year, putting the two of him and Luka Doncic together, you could have the next big dynamic duo in the NBA. So they're swinging for the fences, and I love that about the Dallas Mavericks. They never rebuild. They never try to completely just dump. They want to keep retooling, and I think this is the perfect retooling trade. The Knicks, to me, their game plan sucks. And I'm going to tell you why, Chris America. And you can disagree with me or you can agree with me, but their game plan sucks. They have cleared up enough cap space with this trade so that they can go out and get 2 big-time max deal free agents this offseason. Now, Chris America, we talked about this earlier in the week, but what is New York known for? The Knicks, what are they known for in free agency other than maybe Carmelo Anthony, which was a trade a few years back? Other than that, every year they go into free agency and they have these super high hopes, but what do they do every year when they go into free agency?
They're like a home run slugger on the far decline of his career. They strike out.
They always strike out. So New York Knicks fans right now are like, yeah, we have all this hope that we're going to land 2 big-time free agents. We've made up all this cap space, and now we're ready. We've got Dennis Smith Jr., who's a good piece, but not a superstar. DeAndre Jordan, declining. You don't have anybody there that's going to be game changers, but you're going to have all this cap space. So you're going to have all this cap space to do what with? Sign another ridiculous deal to a guy that's past his prime like a Joakim Noah because you missed out on all of the other big free agents because nobody wants to go to the Knicks because it's a dumpster fire of an organization with James Dolan running it at the top? No, this is a terrible trade. If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be pissed right now, but that's how I feel.
That's you know what you said, I can disagree with you if I want, but I don't want to, Loudbeard. That is a solid take. That is such a hot take that you're melting the polar ice caps right now. That's how hot that take is. And you're right on, man. I seen a lot of Knicks fans, and you know what? I'm not going to rag on fans. I try to not rag on fans when they're trying to be hopeful because that's what we do, right? Loudbeard, as a fan, like you get Alex Smith on the Redskins, and you can see it as Alex Smith has never really done anything in the playoffs, or you can say, you know what? This is Alex Smith's time. This is the time that he grabs the bull by the horns and he shows the world that, you know, I'm ready to win a Super Bowl. He's like John Elway. John Elway didn't win a Super Bowl until later on in his career, and Alex Smith is going to do the same. And you had a lot of reasons to believe that at the beginning of the season. Did you not?
Yeah.
Didn't mean to burp in the mic.
All right. Thank you for that. Yeah, I would say yes. Alex Smith gave us hope, and it was a quarterback that came in with experience, that is a winner, and whatever the critics would say about him or whatever the downfalls of Alex Smith were, it didn't matter. You had that hope. And that's what the Knicks fans are doing right now. You don't want to look at the negative side. The negative side being what I said is that nobody wants to go to the Knicks. I get it. New York's a big city, but it is not a free agent destination like it once was. Or maybe it's never been a free agent destination. Maybe the media just hypes it up because it's a big media market. I don't know, but
I don't know either, man.
Whatever these hopes are, it's ridiculous.
Because Carmelo Anthony, again, you can correct us if we're wrong. You can hit us up at Scout Team Radio. Let us know who that true big name, maybe like borderline future Hall of Famer, all-star, superstar was. Because I can't think of it, man. They needed a frozen envelope just to get Patrick Ewing. So I can't think of anybody else on the New York Knicks. Maybe Carlos Boozer. Does Carlos Boozer count as a big-time free agent signing, or did they trade for him?
No Carlos Boozer. We're not adding him to the list. And I've said this in the past. Amari Stoudemire was a decent pickup for him. His knees gave out on him. Now, that was an okay free agent. They overpaid him, and they ended up hurting the franchise later in there. But again, they're getting guys. Typically, they're not getting the number one free agent, right? They're not getting the number two. They're getting like the fifth or sixth best free agent. And when you start getting to that level, the guys aren't superstars. They're not, when you look at the free agents and you think, okay, maybe a Kawhi Leonard's going to be available. Kawhi Leonard, I don't believe, is going to the Knicks. He'll be in conversations about the Lakers, about staying with Toronto, maybe a crazy deal where Houston somehow figures out their cap and tries to go for him. You'll hear him in those conversations. Who wants to go to the Knicks? Right now, the organization has no promise as far as where they're going. Yes, they're going to get a high draft pick. Okay, good. You're going to be in the lottery. Congratulations, New York Knicks. Guess what? There's a lot of teams, Sacramento Kings, Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, that have been in the lottery for a lot of years, and they're still not doing anything. So that doesn't impress me at all. And last time you were in the lottery with Kristaps Porzingis, he was your big superstar that was supposed to help carry your franchise. He was the only deal,
He was the purple unicorn.
He's the only thing that Phil Jackson did that made any sense whatsoever for your organization, and now you've traded him away for future hope. Nah, I don't like this trade at all for the Knicks. I think it's just, I've said my piece, Chris America. I think I'm ready to be done with that.
You know what's crazy, Loudbeard, is that in the same time that the New York Knicks have been involved, trying to get this thing back on track since basically Patrick Ewing. Like we said, we've mentioned the Carmelo Anthony decent year where they made the playoffs, but the New Jersey Nets in this time frame have moved to Brooklyn, made one of the worst trades of all time. Well, it was good on paper, but it was a day late and a dollar short when they made that trade for basically the big three from the Boston Celtics. They traded away like their future, and the Brooklyn Nets being where they are today after that trade is surprising. It's stunning. The fact that they're number 6 seed, I thought the Brooklyn Nets would be a bottom dweller for forever because they traded away so many draft picks to get, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. They didn't get anybody else from Boston, right? Those are the big two? It wasn't the big three, right?
Yeah, it was those two. That was their big splash, if you will.
Yeah, so that was a day late, dollar short trade, and they traded away their future for two old Hall of Famers, and it didn't work out for them. But the Nets have been able to get it right back on track, and they're the 6th seed currently, playing for the playoffs. They have a winning record, so if you have a winning record, you're really solid making it into the playoffs in the East. And the Knicks are still trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah, and again, like you said, they're in the East, so it should be a lot easier. The road is much easier than when you're in the West, and the Knicks can't figure it out. You're absolutely correct. The Nets have made some smart moves since then. They've been smart. Now, they've had a couple bad years where they had to cycle through. They're losing those draft picks and all that, but they've made some trades and made some moves that have helped them out. And one guy on that roster, D'Angelo Russell, who got snubbed last night when they selected all-star reserves, a guy that I felt should have been an all-star. But D'Angelo Russell, I mean, this guy's playing out of his mind. He was an early draft pick for the Lakers. The Lakers made a trade that brought D'Angelo Russell over to the Nets. And when you make a great move like that, that helps your franchise out. It's kind of like when the Pacers made that trade to get Victor Oladipo over. Guys that are under the radar, that are okay, that you end up getting on your team and blossom into superstars, that's an eye for talent for that general manager and that front office staff, and they're making the right moves and doing the right things. I can say the exact opposite for the New York Knicks. They don't have an eye for talent. They don't have the front office, and they're never going to be able to get out of that cycle because they can't find the right person to bring on their team that will develop and blossom their talent out. And Porzingis showed so much promise, though the injuries are a little concerning. But they're like, okay, let's go ahead and jump ship on him and bring in and make some cap space. To me, it was just more of a cap space move so that they can get 2 free agents here in the offseason. It's just not, I don't know. It blows my mind, Chris America. And the fact that some people think this was a good deal for the Knicks, I don't even know what you guys are thinking. Non-Knick fans, analysts out there that think this is a good deal, no, this is terrible.
Loudbeard, every time I feel bad and down and out about our Orlando Magic, I just look to the Knicks to help me feel better. I say, man, at least we're not the Knicks. And what is their excuse? They're in a huge market, the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps. Some people call it the best city in the world. If they can't attract free agents, then where's the hope for Orlando? But at least we're able to overcome our small market from time to time. We're able to, every once in a while, draft some solid talent. And we're not the Knicks. So, and the other worst part about this trade, Loudbeard, I think the steal of this trade is that Orlando Magic legend Courtney Lee. if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's the only person on that trade that has finals experience like Courtney Lee does.
I see what you're saying. So we're getting a tweet out here, and Memphis Spence, he likes to keep us in check. He likes to check in with us. Thank you, Memphis Spence, for tweeting at us at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. He says, what if that first-round draft pick they get ends up being Zion Williamson? Dennis Smith Jr. and Zion is something I want to see. Okay, if you win the lottery, yes, it would be great. Like if I go buy a lotto ticket today for the Fantasy 5 and I win $250,000, yeah, I'll be happy. But the odds of me doing that are not that great. And yeah, that unprotected first-round draft pick, that could end up being Zion, but I don't think it will. I think it is a very low probability. Again, the Knicks they're trying to make this a crapshoot, where they're just hoping and praying, and they think that something may materialize, but it's not going to, Memphis Spence. And if that draft comes and the lottery comes and I end up being wrong, you can call me out on it, but they're not getting Zion Williamson. He's not going to the New York Knicks. I'm sorry.
So, Loudbeard, I thought about this yesterday when DSJ went over there, and I said, man, DSJ is just going to be another superstar of a long list of superstars that the Knicks have had that they failed to build a team around. And if they get Zion Williamson, then it'll just be two superstars that they'll fail to build a team around. And I think the two of them together would do some great things, but then they would just become a bottom dweller team to that team that's like hovering around the 6th and 7th seed. Like 1 week they'll be at the 6th seed, the next week they'll drop 3 in a row and they'll be out of the playoffs, and they'll just kind of hover around there because, and it's kind of like with the Lakers and AD, and we can talk about that here in a minute, with the trade offer that supposedly was given out. You can have the two best guys in the world, but if you don't have a team, a baseline team behind them, you really got nothing. And I mean, that's why the Warriors, when they first started out, they were able to, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were able to do so much because they had such an amazing surrounding cast helping them out to take the pressure off them. They had the Draymond Greens. They had the Livingstons. They had all those guys. Who was the guy that won the MVP that I can't think of, the first one? From Philadelphia.
You're talking about Andre Iguodala.
They had Andre Iguodala. You know what I mean? They had that solid supporting cast. And if right now the Knicks don't have that if they draft Zion Williamson. So I don't trust them to build a team around Zion and DSJ for it to really matter.
Yes, but I still don't think they get Zion. The draft lottery is it's
I don't
so
know where
random.
They're at the bottom.
You never know what you're going to get.
They're at the bottom of the East. I'm looking. Yeah, they have the number 1 pick right now, or they have the number 1 odds to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, but that's for the Knicks pick. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if they get them, they get them. Whatever. We'll see what happens. We'll get.
All right,
Loudbeard.
We'll
get this.
We did
Moving
mention the Lakers and Pelicans. They both did swipe right on their Tinder, so they've talked to each other on the phone, and there's been an alleged offer by the Lakers. Has there not been?
There's been an alleged 5 offers from the Lakers.
Oh, I didn't hear about the 5.
Yeah.
Do you have
5
the best? What is the best one they have? Do you have it?
I don't have it right in front of me, but
I saw
believe
something that it was like Kuzma, Ingram, Ball, and 2 first rounds.
Yep, and their center. They've got a young center, Zubit or something like that. So they've got it's a good trade, and the Pelicans might want to go ahead and pull the trigger on this if they
was all
sit
that
here and think
just
about
for AD, or were they asking for some players from the Pelicans as well?
No, I mean I didn't see what that was looking like. I'm sure it would, if the Pelicans were going to send anybody back with AD, it would be like guys that they're trying to salary dump,
right?
That are overpaid, that they're trying to just get rid of, and they're going to say, Lakers, you can have AD, but you've got to take on this bad contract. So if anybody gets thrown in, it'll be that. So it's really like a non-essential piece. But on the Lakers side, it would be all the Lakers' young core is what they're looking at.
Which is crazy to me. I mean,
Right.
I guess you replaced Lonzo with Rondo, right? So I guess you kind of have a fair trade there. But man, you're gutting out three players on your team. That's like 75% or 25% of your roster?
I agree with you, Chris America, and yes, they're selling a little bit of their future for their now, But you got LeBron James, who's not going to be at the high level that he's
Right.
at now forever. So you've got to take advantage of that 4-year contract that you had with him. You're already in year 1, so you better start making something happen by year 2. So you need to get Anthony Davis over there. So if you have LeBron and Anthony Davis, you have some veteran guys on that team that can help fill in and be the perfect complements. Rondo being one of them at point. You've also got at the center position, they brought in a trade for Tyson Chandler, who's older, doesn't play as many minutes, but you also have JaVale McGee. You've got Lance Stevenson. So you've got guys that can fill in and play these positions. It's not like there's no talent on the team. There was two groups of talent. There was the young core, and then there was the old men that they got on 1-year deals, so they wouldn't commit long term. And in those old men, they've got Tyson Chandler, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson. So they've got guys that have experience in the playoffs that will be there and would be good complements to AD and LeBron. So I don't think the trade would hurt them that much. Though I love Kyle Kuzma. I think he's a great talent, a great power forward. But if you're bringing in AD, you've got your power forward position set. And so you don't even need to worry about sending Kuzma. It's actually a good deal to send Kuzma. Now, Ingram shows a ton of potential. It necessarily hasn't always come out on the court, but he is showing some potential flashes here and there. And Lonzo Ball, we all know what he is. Not a great shooter, but a great facilitator. So, I mean, the Pelicans would be getting some good pieces and the 2 future first-round picks, but those picks would probably be late in the draft. If you got a guy like LeBron James and Anthony Davis on your team, you're probably looking at late 20s, early 30s on those draft picks.
Well, then you're also hoping that Kawhi comes on down.
Oh, yeah. So
you gotta
that's
hope
what you
to
want.
sign him.
If you want that third superstar to say, all right, I'm going to come join this team. We want to go for a championship. And if you got LeBron and AD and a spot available for a max deal, I would think that would be a no-brainer. It's not like the Knicks situation. I think that would be a no-brainer.
Yeah. So do you think the Pelicans aren't pulling the trigger because they have their point guard and they don't necessarily want Lonzo Ball, so they're waiting to make this a menage a trois with another team?
Maybe, but I think the Pelicans, I'm starting to more and more get the sense that they kind of want to wait till the offseason to see what the Celtics offer. Because honestly, the Celtics probably could offer a better deal if the Celtics were willing to give away their young core with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But the Celtics also have that question mark with Kyrie Irving. I don't know. It's just this has become the Kardashians of the world right now. We're talking about all the drama of the NBA, and it's super weekend, and the NBA has taken over all of the news cycle.
Yeah, Loudbeard, and I think we need to bring it on to the Super Bowl track right now. We've let the NFL down, man. We used to talk NFL all day, every day, and you're right. The NBA, man, I don't know if they did it on purpose. I don't know if these talks have been going on, and the commissioner said, "Hey, save these trades for the Super Bowl week. Just let's take over the Super Bowl week. Let's dominate it. I know AD wants out, but let's keep that secret until the Monday morning of Super Bowl week." And then, you know what, Porzingis, why don't you 3 days later come out and tell the Knicks, like you've been telling them for the last 3 weeks now, that you want out. Let's save that for that week. Man, if that happened, man, I would not be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all either.
It worked. So, Loudbeard, how are we going to kick off Super Bowl week? Or Super Bowl weekend?
This is the deal, Chris America, and this is what I get excited about. On Fridays, you and I, we love to do a fun fantasy draft. And with it being Super Week, we have to have a super draft. So, Chris America, I think we are going to have the most superest draft of all time. And why don't you tell our listeners what kind of draft that would be?
You and I, we're going to draft the best Super Bowl commercials, or at least what we felt were the best Super Bowl commercials for us, Loudbeard. And we kind of did this in advance so we can play the Super Bowl ads, kind of prep us up. It's not going to be like a normal draft. And since we did it in advance, we already know the picks are in. We already know what they are. We're going to go ahead and, let's see. We're going to go ahead and do the picks backwards. What do you think about that, Loudbeard? You want to do them backwards? We'll go from 5 to 1.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go 5 to 1. I say we go, we do picks 5 and 4 now. And
We'll
then
just
we'll
do it
go
until 6:30. We'll see where we're at.
6:30. All right. Don't do that.
All right, so Loudbeard, the hardest part about this draft is a lot of Super Bowl commercials were just visual. So there's a lot of great commercials that I'm sure people will be like, what about that Doritos 3D commercial where the chick is in the laundromat and the dudes are doing all the tricks with the Doritos to throw it in their mouth? Yeah, that's great, but that's not good for radio because it's a visual commercial. It's not a vocal commercial. And the first one I picked, it is visual, but I had to put it on my list, Loudbeard. It would be a disservice to not put it on the list. And a lot of people would argue this is the best Super Bowl commercial or one of the best Super Bowl commercials. And
this is your number five pick.
This is my
We're
five
going
pick.
backwards,
I was actually
right?
surprised. I was actually surprised it was up there, man. I couldn't believe it, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on here as soon as this YouTube ad is over, and we'll roll with it.
I love the YouTube ads. They're the best.
So with my
no,
number-
not that we're using YouTube to play on the radio.
Not
We're
at all. So my number 5th pick is the Cindy Crawford Pepsi commercial. You know, where she's getting out of the car, like I think it's like a Lambo. She's looking all sexy. The two little boys, they're like 9 and 10 looking at her, walking up to the soda machine all sultry like, wind in her hair. Kids' mouths agape. Oh, man. Cindy Crawford, back in the day. She still is a beautiful woman, Loudbeard.
She is, and she always has been.
Oh, now she's drinking the soda. So sexy, so sultry, quenching her thirst. Gives a good...
You're giving a good commentary.
You talked over the best part.
To look at Pep.
Is that a great new Pepsi can or what?
Introducing a whole new way to look at Pepsi and Diet Pepsi.
It's beautiful.
Oh, man. Classic commercial there, Loudbeard.
That is a classic commercial, but if I think of classic commercials, I'm not thinking of Pepsi. I'm thinking of Coke, because my number 5 pick is the classic Mean Joe Green Coca-Cola commercial.
Mr. Green? Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help?
Mm-mm.
I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
Yeah, sure.
Want my Coke? It's okay, you can have it.
No.
Really, you can have it.
Okay.
Yeah, taking you back to the 70s. Drinking
Oh,
some
yeah,
delicious Coke.
1979.
Hey, kid.
Oh, he gives him the jersey at the end there.
Oh, gives me goosebumps every time, Loudbeard.
Have a Coke and a smile. That was
Loudbeard, those were our 5th picks, and I feel like a lot of people would argue those are the 2 best commercials in Super Bowl history, and it's Coke versus Pepsi as well. Great solid pick. Now, mine is one of the most classic. It kind of put Wendy's on the map, and they made shirts of it. It was ahead of its time. It really was.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's a very big bun.
Big fluffy bun.
It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
Oh, Loudbeard, before they were talking smack and throwing shade on Twitter, they were doing it in commercials with little old ladies back in the 1980s. I believe it was 87 when that commercial. That is my number 4 pick, Loudbeard. What is your number 4 pick before we go to commercial break?
All right, so my number 4 pick, Chris America. This one I dedicate to all the New Orleans Saints fans out there. I felt like, you know, with all the controversy on that missed play, that missed call that we had recently, that I really needed to find something that our listeners would really connect to. And this commercial was in 2003 with Budweiser. It is one of their classic Clydesdale commercials. All right. They're showing a video, and they just keep rewinding it. It's of the Clydesdales. It's weird. Just keep rewinding it. Clydesdales are sitting there watching. What's going to happen here? The anticipation, it's growing.
This referee's a jackass.
No, I believe that's a zebra.
That's to all my New Orleans Saints fans out there. Thank you so much. That was dedicated to you guys. Now, Chris America, we've done 2 rounds of our fantasy draft so far, but we still have 3 more fantastic rounds ahead of us. But as you said, it is time for a quick commercial break. Can our fans and our listeners be excited about what's coming up after the break?
Oh, yeah, we got babies, we got French fries, and we have more old ladies.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
We thank everybody for listening in on this beautiful Friday morning. Once again, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. I'm Loudbeard. He's Chris America. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning. You can find us on 12-ounce sports radio. You can download the TuneIn app and just search 12OZ Sports Radio on TuneIn to find the station and listen to us every morning at 6 a.m., replay on at 11 a.m. We are also on the Barn Burner Network. We are proud to be part of the Barn Burner Network. Barn Burner is doing great things for us and getting more exposure out there to our fans up in Canada. We love your feedback. We love you listening in. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We are also available on Twitter. Make sure you tweet at us. Get social with us. Make sure you give us your opinions because we like to read tweets on air. Hit us up at Scout Team Radio. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Scout Team Radio. And lastly, you can catch our podcast every episode, every show, each morning we record, we drop as a podcast. You can catch it at scoutteamradio.com or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. Chris America, it's draft day. Are you ready?
I am Loudbeard. So far, we've had the Cindy Crawford, we've had the Mean Joe Green, we've had the Where's the Beef ladies, and we've had the Clydesdale watching a bad play by a zebra. Loudbeard, are you ready for rounds 3 through 1?
I think I'm ready. We did draft this ahead, so, man, you got some good ones. You've got some good ones, so I'm nervous. I'm starting to get a little nervous, Chris America. Should I be nervous? I think I should be nervous.
I would be nervous because the next commercial is probably one of my most favorite Super Bowl commercials, and it kicked off one of the best, most hilarious commercial series. I love it when commercials do a series like this one did. It makes it funny. It makes you look forward to the next one and everything else. So without further ado, I give you the E-Trade, baby.
A lot of people are like, aren't you too young to invest in the markets? And, don't worry about it. I just look young. I mean, you don't know how old I am. And B, I use E-Trade, so check it. Click. I just bought stock. You just saw me buy stock. No big deal. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. Whoa.
It's so easy. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
Oh, yeah, the good old E-Trade, baby. I remember laughing so hard, especially when the baby kind of spit up a little bit and did the whole, whoa. And then they brought in all the other babies, and they were talking and arguing with each other. It was fantastic, Loudbeard.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, too. That was a good commercial there, Chris America. But you know what happens when you're a little baby? Sometimes you have to grow up. So my next commercial, it's from Monster.com. It's dedicated to all of those little babies from E-Trade that needed to grow up.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management. Be replaced on a whim. I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes, woman.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir. When I grow up, I want to be underappreciated.
Be paid less for doing the same job. I want sunshine blown up my dress.
I feel like you're playing some background sounds there in my spot, Chris America. How dare you? How dare you?
I don't think I was.
No? Maybe it was on the video?
Maybe it was on the video. My apologies. Do you want to play it again just so the listeners get the full viewership of it? No, it was a great ad.
Right. Yeah, it was a great ad. I like that one. That was fun. What do you want to be when you grow up, Chris America?
I want to be Chris America when I grow up.
Okay, I thought you were going to say hobo.
The hobo works too. That's after that's like there's a process, Loudbeard. You go podcast host, 12-ounce sports radio host, big time millionaire on ESPN or Fox Sports or one of those other guys. Then tons of gambling, drug use, and other debauchery. Then you hit rock bottom, and then you go hobo. That's the dream.
All right, you're halfway there.
Doing it. Loudbeard, my next one is... I say this every commercial because this is one of the best things about the Super Bowl commercials is every year they surprise you. Every year you replace it with another like, oh, this one's one of my favorite. Although the last few years I feel like they've been disappointing. But back in the day, Loudbeard, there was an office that needed to spruce things up, had to motivate people a little bit. I'm all about Motivation Mondays and everything else. So without further ado, here's what one office did to help motivate their office employees.
When we asked Reebok to send us Terry Tate, some people thought we were crazy. But I'm a firm believer in paradigm breaking, outside the box thinking.
Hey, buddy.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
And since Terry's been with us, our productivity has gone up 46%. We're getting more from our employees than ever before.
You know you need a cover sheet on your TPS reports, Richard. That ain't new, baby.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Janice.
But what's really impressed me is how Terry's become part of the Felcher family.
You get high, baby.
He fits right in here.
That's a long-distance call, Doug.
To be honest, I wish Reebok sent us 10 Terry Tates.
You want to play games, Gene? Well, when it's game time, it's pay time, baby.
Oh, Loudbeard. Every
Man,
time
I
I
wish I
watch a
would've
new
got
video,
that
I'm like,
one,
no,
man.
this one's my favorite one.
Yeah, that one's good. That one, I forgot how good that one was. That was your second pick, but I had picked one before you on my second pick since I was going first in the draft, and I went with a little bit more of a fine elderly woman. Let's just say she's my favorite Golden Girl, and after I made that pick, I was hoping that Terry Tate would be available when I got around to the third round, but he was not. So for my second pick in the draft, as we're going backwards here, I went with a classic Snickers commercial with the great Betty White, who, you gotta love Betty White. This brought her back, man.
Mike, come on!
Mike, what is your deal, man?
Oh, come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
Mike, you're playing like Betty White out there.
That's not what your girlfriend said.
Baby.
That's not quite
Eat a Snickers. Better?
Better. Hey, I'm all bet.
That hurt.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
All right, there you go.
Oh,
that's
Betty
that's
White.
a good commercial.
Betty
That's
White,
a
a
good one.
national treasure, Loudbeard, is Betty White.
Yeah, she's just like that movie with Nicolas Cage.
Just follow the leads on the Constitution, Loudbeard.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here is my final commercial. And yesterday, we went Time Travel Thursday to the Budweiser Bud Bowl. And Loudbeard, we were kind of reminiscing about how we miss it, and it kind of sucks that it went away. And if I'm not mistaken, this ad right here is the one that replaced the Bud Bowl. Let me get it going now here. We need a producer, Loudbeard.
Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines.
You know what? Now that I look at it, I'm kind of regretting making that my number one pick.
It's funny. Our number two picks were better than that. I was
They
actually
were.
liking the frogs. I was thinking, I'm gonna go frogs next. Oh, you picked frogs. Okay. I'm like Terry Tate or Betty White. And I kind of like Betty White. She's got a little place in my heart. Like I said, I'm a big Golden Girls fan. I love those Golden Girls.
I think I picked it just because of just how back in the day we made such a big deal about that. That was the top commercial the year that came out. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it replaced the Bud Bowl in their commercial series, and the Budweiser frogs, man, they were on top of the world back in 96, 97, whenever they came out.
You know, there was another big time Budweiser commercial. It seemed like it was around the same time, but it was that "What's Up" commercial. What's up?
What's up? No, I think that was like later on. That was
that a little bit later?
A little like early 2000s, I feel like, or maybe 99.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't remember. Time is all a blur. It's just a thing of the past. And another thing of the past is thinking about the greatest players of all time. And McDonald's nailed this back in 1993. My number one draft pick for today's
one we've
Fantasy
all been
Friday
waiting for.
draft. This is it. It's the one the legends are made of right here, Chris America.
What's in the bag? Lunch. Big Mac, fries. Play you for it. You and me for my Big Mac. First one to miss watches the winner eat. No dunking. One me. Which me? Get in there. Off the floor, off the scoreboard, off the bankboard, no rim. Over the second rafter, off the floor, nothing but net. Through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
What you want is what you get. McDonald's today.
off the expressway, over the river, off the billboard, through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
Yeah, I'm proud of my number one, Chris America.
Oh,
You can't go wrong with that.
You can't. And when you picked it, when you sent that over to me and you said this is my number one pick, I said, damn you. That was the one I was hoping you would just maybe skirt by. Maybe you didn't see it. Maybe you forgot about it. But there's no forgetting that commercial, Loudbeard, is there?
No, there's no forgetting it. Off the window, through the expressway, blah, 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 nothing but net. Oh, I loved that when I was a kid. Larry Legend and Michael Jordan, two of the greatest of all time, sitting there just having a nice game of horse, eating a Big Mac.
That was an easier pick than taking Zion Williamson, number one, for sure. And you mentioned being a kid. Loudbeard, the whole entire time I'm listening to commercial, like I had a flashback. I saw myself playing in my driveway. I know exactly what crack was my three-point line in my driveway for my basketball hoop. I just remember always trying to be like Mike, those commercials too. Playing that game, like, you know, after that Super Bowl, you'd go outside the next day and you and your buddies were like, off the roof, off of Dad's car windshield. Don't hit the metal because Dad'll be mad if you dent his car. But off the windshield, nothing but net. And you would try to do those kind of shots, and it never worked out.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you 100%.
And you did always hit Dad's car, and Dad would be mad.
Yep. Oh, every time. He would come out and he'd be like, "What's that?" No, he wouldn't. He'd be mad.
No, he would be like the drop of the other one, and you're like, hey, you shut your mouth.
Yes, he would. I think
that's
got explicit language in it, so I'm not going to play that.
That is our draft. You can vote on our draft. Go to @ScoutTeamRadio. @ScoutTeamRadio will have the draft up after the show, and you can vote Chris Scout Team or Loudbeard as to which one is your favorite.
Or just vote Loudbeard. You don't have to vote Chris Scout Team. You can just vote Loudbeard because he's the number one in our hearts and in our drafts.
All right, Loudbeard, we have 9 minutes left, and I think we should devote all 9 minutes to Super Bowl talk. We've been pushing it back, and now's the time. And now we only have 8 minutes left.
It's unbelievable. I wish we had another show because I could talk another 30 minutes about the NBA and All-Stars and this and that, but you're right. It's time. We need to now dedicate all of our time to the Super Bowl. Now, we did spend a lot of time talking about the commercials, which they're usually the best part. But to me, Chris America, I think the world has gone crazy because all of a sudden, everybody wants to go on the internet and watch these commercials early. So
why? I don't understand it.
Do you think this is blasphemy that these commercials get like leaked online or whatever, they get introduced online and people go and watch them ahead of the game? Like, why would you do that? They need to be premiering at the Super Bowl. Why is this a thing?
Yeah, Loudbeard, I remember one year when I was like 13 or 14, my buddy showed me how to open up presents and then rewrap them without your parents knowing. And I did that one year. I saw what every single one of my presents were under the tree. And I got to tell you, that was one of the worst Christmases ever because I spent all Christmas morning trying to pretend to be surprised. I knew what everything was already. I took away the surprise, the excitement, the enjoyment. And that's what people are doing right now. They're robbing themselves of a great Super Bowl. They're robbing, like, now you can get up and go get your chips or whatever. You don't have that excitement of like, oh my gosh, the commercials are on. Let's pay attention. You lose all that joy.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and that's a great analogy you used there, Chris America. You're scandalous, opening up all your Christmas presents. That's
I thought I was being sly, and I thought it was a cool thing. I mean, it was fun when I was doing it. You know, you're sneaking around, you're finding out what you're getting, and come Christmas morning, I didn't realize how much joy it was being surprised opening up each present. And people don't realize how much joy they have watching a Super Bowl ad for the very first time with all your friends, wondering what's going to happen.
Oh man, Chris America, you hit the nail on the head with that. We talked a lot about commercials here, but there is a game that's going to be played too, right?
Yeah, there is going to be a game, and you feel like you already know the outcome, don't you? But I think one of the best things about the Patriots' run is that you don't really know if the Patriots are going to win. You feel like they are. You bet on them, but aren't they like 1-3 in their last? No, they're 2-3 in their last 5 Super Bowls, Loudbeard.
Yeah, and with that 2-3, one of them was that come from behind victory where we all kind of left them for dead because the Falcons dominated them in the first half. They were one. I mean, that was kind of a miraculous comeback. If that comeback wouldn't have happened, and they're 1-4 in the last 5 Super Bowls, we're kind of looking at this whole thing a little bit differently now. And you're right. They were 3-0 in their first Super Bowls, but they've still got something to prove. They need to show that they can still do it. Took a big loss last year to the Eagles. So I think this is a big game for the Patriots. I think they're going to be up for this one. And you're right. Tom Brady, he needs to continue to show that he's the GOAT. And, you can't just go and say, we're still here and not back it up with some real still here magic.
Now, I don't know if this matters to you or not, Loudbeard, but the Patriots are 1-3 versus the NFC East and 4-0 against everybody else. Do you think that plays a role into this weekend's game?
Absolutely not. This is two great teams, regardless of what their regular season record was, regardless of what their postseason record was. Right now, everybody's even. They're 0-0. You're going in clean slate up against each other, and this is a fight. You're going to put them in, and whoever comes out on top, that's going to be our Super Bowl champion. So everything in the past is in the past. You don't worry about who's injured or what. This is the teams that you are getting, and that record doesn't mean anything. Let's see what they can put out on the field Sunday.
Yeah, I hear you, Loudbeard. Another one I want to know, does Todd Gurley stay ghost like he was in the NFC Championship?
No, absolutely not. This is going to be a completely different story. Sean McVay is going to try to use Todd Gurley early and often and get him going because they need his explosiveness. They need his help. And they needed him in that NFC Championship game, but he was just lost. I think he maybe got himself kind of pulled back together, and maybe he wasn't up for that NFC Championship game like he should have been. And Sean McVay showed him, I'll sit you. If you're not performing, I'll sit you. But the Rams need him, so I think Todd Gurley comes into this refocused and ready to play the best game of his life. I think Gurley gets a big game.
All right, let me ask you this, Loudbeard. If Gurley doesn't have a big game, if he goes ghost again, if he's MIA like he was in the NFC Championship, how does that decrease their odds of beating the Patriots this weekend?
Well, it greatly decreases it, but the performance of C.J. Anderson, like we saw in the NFC Championship game and prior games to that, without Todd Gurley in the lineup, they still do pretty well with C.J. Anderson, but you don't have that same out-of-the-backfield presence, that same just elusiveness and quickness. You lose a little bit of that with C.J. Anderson. So I think it does decrease it quite a bit because he's a big-time weapon, and the Rams, they need him to perform. So I absolutely think if Todd Gurley doesn't have a big day, there's no way the Rams pull this out.
All right, now my last question. Actually, I have a couple of questions. Rob Gronkowski, he's also been ghost. He was ghost for the most of the first half last year. Then they started forcing him the ball, and he took over, and they started scoring some touchdowns. They started moving the ball a lot this year. Do you think they come out early trying to get Gronk going, or is Gronk just is he done? Is he just too much far down in his decline to be the Gronk we know and love?
Yeah, he's not the Gronk we know and love, but he still has enough left in the tank. Something that he's been doing lately that a lot of people aren't giving him credit for is his blocking skills are superb. He's been in there, and he has been playing hard every down. Yeah, on the receiving side, I think he's lost a step. I think the injuries and everything's caught up to him, and the game's gotten a little bit faster for him. But he still shows up with a big play every now and again. If he has 2 or 3 big-time catches and has 50 yards and then still plays the whole game and does his work and does what he's supposed to do, I still think that's a win for Rob Gronkowski. I don't expect a 150-yard game out of him. I don't expect 8 or 9 catches. I expect 2 or 3 catches and just maybe 40, 50 yards, but then those catches coming at key times, either a nice red zone drive where he catches a touchdown or, when it's 3rd and 9 and he has a 18-yard reception down the middle and takes a big hit. He's going to come up with a big play, but it's not going to be a huge game.
All right, Loudbeard, he's the odds-on favorite to retire after this, right? Between him, Brady, and Belichick?
Yes, 100%. And not that he's going to retire, but he would be the top of that list. I don't think any of them retire, but if anybody did, it would be Gronk.
All right, Loudbeard, we have 1 minute left. I have 2 final questions. the Steelers have 6 Super Bowl rings. If the Patriots win this weekend, they'll have 6. How would you rather get your 6? The way the Steelers did, where it was like 4 in one decade and then 2 like 30 years later? Or would you want it in one 20-year span or 19-year span like the Patriots have done?
Well, if I'm a fan, I want it in that 20-year span because it's the most recent span. The Steelers did theirs in the 70s. A lot of the fans of the Steelers weren't even alive when the Steelers were doing their championships, and they still say, oh, my gosh, my team's the best. They have 6 Super Bowls. Well, in your lifetime, if you're 35, 40 years old, in your lifetime, you basically got to see 2 Super Bowls. For me, if I was a fan or in my lifetime, I would love to see what the Patriots are doing. I wish my team would do that. So, yes, the way the Patriots did it.
Yeah, I mean, if you were alive then, I mean, there's still tons of Steeler fans who are like 60 years old that have seen both sides of it. But I agree with you, Ladbert. I think you want the 19-year span rather than get the 4 in the 20 or in the 10-year span and then wait 30 years for your next 2. And now, Loudbeard, my final question before we come off. We got several new followers. We want to thank everybody that just followed us on Scout Team Radio on Twitter. But I got to ask, is Jockstrap Steve the best Twitter name we've had follow us so far?
Yes. Isn't that your cousin?
Yeah, I think so. Under his description, it says, gotta protect the family jewels. I couldn't agree more, Jockstrap Steve. Protect your family jewels this weekend. And also, go to Apple Podcast, hit subscribe, hit rate, and find us anywhere you can find another podcast.